You're listening to Music 101 with your host, Alexxis Steele. Sponsored by Steel Notes Magazine. You can find them at the web, folks, at www.steelnotesmagazine.com.
Hello, everybody. This is Alexxis Steele with Music 101. It gives me great pleasure to bring to you today the amazing Angie Bowie. How you doing, Angie?
I'm fine. And Alexxis, I mean, really, did we work hard at this or what? You suffered. We worked really hard to get this interview together, didn't we?
We did. Yes, we did. As many of you know, obviously, Angie was the first wife of superstar David Bowie. And Angie had a lot to do with his career and a lot to do with catapulting him from the beginning to where he eventually got to be. Okay, but Angie is much more than the wife of David Bowie. She's an author, she's a musician in her own right, poet, actress, businesswoman, so many things, journalist. It's amazing with the amount of things that you have to do, Angie. So I'm really pleased and happy that you were able to make it to this interview today, because you're a very busy person, I know, with all the things that you have going on.
Well, and you too. I think all of us know, don't we, that that's what women really excel at. We're able to wear 86 hats, deal with the children, feed the dog, and with a smile on our face while wearing a hat.
Exactly. And you're a fellow lover of hats like I am.
Yes.
That shows in this beautiful picture that you have here.
Well, I don't know about you, but I always figure to myself that, you know, all of us sisters, we all understand this. We all do a lot of things, and that's what makes our households and our professional life run smoothly, because we can do all that stuff.
Right. We wear many hats. And they say a strong woman is one that wears a hat, literally.
Yes, that's true. I think so. Hats are good.
Yes, they are. So Angie actually has written 7 books and a lot of things. And there's one that I'm particularly interested in, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. Okay, so you had Free Spirit. You had Bisexuality, a Pocket Guide, Backstage Passes, Life on the Wild Side with David Bowie, which we'll be talking about too, Fancy Footwork, Poetry and Lyrics, which I'm interested in your poetry. Now, this is the one, Lipstick Legend, When Boys Became Girls, Catastrophe, and Pop.Sex.
Yes.
And it was quite interesting that I saw that the interviews that you did with Lipstick Legends, like Mae West, that's like amazing. I mean, how many people would get to interview Mae West?
I know. I was very lucky, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean, Mae West, like, this is such an icon,
Well, it was absolutely fabulous. And I don't know, I don't know if you want me to start. I can't launch into a whole story because we'll be here for an hour.
Right.
She was very, very, very wonderful to me. She couldn't have been nicer. A wonderful gentleman who is like the liaison officers, your handler when you're in Hollywood, Fred. He took me there. My wonderful lawyer and agent, Michael Lippman, set it up. And I had done a deal with Penthouse to write an article for them about my interview with Mae West. And the premise of the article was that I had to ask her if she was a drag queen. Now, when you're talking to a couple of businessmen in New York, or in an LA office, it's not that difficult to say, sure, absolutely, yes, what a good idea. As long as I ask that question, it'll be a great article. Got it, I understand. So needless to say, I got to the interview. I had read May's book. I had realized by my research that the woman had never spoken a word on film that has not been written and designed by her. Think about that.
Wow.
This is a woman at the turn of the century who did not allow any jackass to put words in her mouth. Not a scriptwriter, no one. Mae West wrote every word that came out of her mouth on screen.
That's awesome.
I was very impressed. I mean, let me tell you, I was like super impressed. And we got to her house and it was all shades of white and cream, absolutely beautiful. One huge, enormous apartment in the entire block, which she owned. After the President of the United States in the 1930s, Mae West was one of the most wealthy people, the third wealthiest person in the United States. You heard me correctly.
Wow.
It blows your mind what this gal accomplished. I mean, it's like, what? She wrote plays, she opened and closed them on Broadway, off Broadway. And her father was a boxer and they owned drinking establishments in New York. I mean, how totally more fabulous could you get? So
yeah, really.
We we sat there for the 40 minutes we were allowed to, do this interview. And I said to her, "Oh, thank you so much." I said, "This is really, you've been so incredible." And she looked at me and she said, "Well, don't you have a question to ask me?" I said, "What? A question?" "No." She said, "Oh, yes, you do." She said, "I admire in you for forfeiting the article by not asking it, but ask me." And I was like, that moment when you understand what a butterfly feels like, having the old pierced heart as it's stuck to a board or display board?
Yeah.
I took a deep breath and I said, "Oh no, I couldn't ask you that. It would be too rude." And she started laughing. She said, "They've been calling me a drag queen since I was 14. Don't feel bad about it." And she said, "Now stay to lunch." And we stayed to lunch and we stayed another hour. And then she said, "Oh, my masseur is coming. Everybody out." And she talked about Broadway and the movies and all the different people that she worked with. And I was forever grateful that I followed up and went and did not, I just went for it. I had to interview her. I knew that this woman was one of the most important role models in my life, apart from Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Between the two of them, if Oscar Wilde had been alive, I would have chased him too to interview him. So yes, it was wonderful. And thank you for asking me about it.
Sure. That's awesome. Yeah. When I saw that, it's like, no way. I mean, how many people have interviewed Mae West? You know what I mean? That's a real catch there.
Thank you. It was magnificent. I couldn't believe how, and she was so wonderful and welcoming and smart and clever and, just everything that you expect.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very wonderful woman.
That's awesome. Well, now the one that I was going to mention that I knew, who's no longer with us, Kim Fowley. Kim said that you were the architect of theatrical rock in the 20th century, and he also endorsed your book.
Thank you. Yeah, Kim was my very good friend. We were good mates. And he came to London. He brought Rodney Bingenheimer to London. And Rodney Bingenheimer and Kim Fowley had two gals who came with them from Hollywood. And one of the gals became Mrs. Tony DeFries.
Oh, wow.
So when Kim came to London, I met Rodney, but Kim and I really got along, and Kim had talked to David a lot when David was doing the radio tour with Mercury Records. Kim entertained him, Rodney entertained him at Rodney's English Disco and all of that. But for some reason, Kim knew an awful lot about me, and he looked me up in London and asked me to come over. And I went over with Daniela, my chum and Freddie's girlfriend, and we had a great talk. And then we went on, and we tried to take Kim with us. We thought he might like to go dancing, but I don't know what he was up to. So, Daniela and I sort of went off into the night. But from that time on, Kim and I stayed in touch. And even if we didn't see each other for a couple of years at a time, he would call up and give, and he didn't drink and he didn't do drugs. So
right.
When I say this, you know him and you know that this is true. If I say he would call up and give me a 3-hour phone monitoring, mentoring tutorial, I would take notes. I really did. I would get my pad and paper out and I'd say, okay, Kim, I'm ready to go. Tell me what you need to tell me. And
yep.
He was generous with his experience, his expertise, and he truly understood. I liked him because he did not balk or panic when you said, and I said it often, because it was so much easier than listening to the baloney that came out of executives' mouths, is that rock and roll is all about sex and having fun and finding someone who turns you on and makes you smile and makes you happy. And that the music is a soundtrack for that great feeling. And don't argue with it, don't deny it, don't try and tell me that, it's some offshoot of some musical discipline that is going to be dealt with at a later date. The truth of the matter is, all that wonderful popular music was the stuff that our parents, our grandparents, their parents either played at the piano or sang or fell in love to. And rock and roll for us kind of united the world because it was a new, different sound. It wasn't like, prerequisite popular music sung in the language of the people whose country it was made in. This was just like one big explosion of rock and roll sung by the incredible Little Richard, the incredible Elvis Presley, all these incredible people who just wanted you to tap your foot and get up and dance, and so
right.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Kim very, very much. He was a great pal.
Yeah, Kim was great.
Yeah.
Kim didn't pull any punches, but he knew his stuff and he knew how to create, what I mean, and artists and material that were going to be hits, and you know what I mean, and everything that he did.
Yes, he did. He certainly did. I love that about it. I love people that take their talents and their tools and share them around and make sure they work properly. And, that's what he did. And it was always fascinating. I recorded with Kim several times. Amazon's a Broadway, and something about Welcome to the Real World, but I then redid that as a song, which is Welcome to the Real World. So I can't remember what, but both of those studio masters were lost. And
oh no.
And we only had a cassette copy of them left. And I had it for years and years and years, and I may find it when I go through the cassettes. But that's my one wonderful souvenir from my friendship with Kim. Was doing that. It was great recording those two songs with him. And he loved it because
I'm glad that.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I'm glad that I had some things too to remember Kim by. I mean, he did a couple interviews with me for radio and also with my magazine. He did our my anniversary for our magazine, and he was actually we were going to have a party for it, and he was going to come out and he was going to get married to I don't know if that was Kara at the time. I forget which one of the girls it was.
Right.
Yeah, but of course it didn't happen. She didn't take his offer, so that never happened. But I still, and like every year I play it. I play the interview with so it's our the anniversary, and he also introduced me to, I don't know if you know Miss Elizabeth Aston.
No, I don't know who that is, but
Okay, yeah, that's somebody. He used to call her. What did he call her now? I forget. Not Lady Vampire or whatever, but she was his sidekick pretty much for a while there. As friends, not lovers or anything like that, but so he introduced me to, and then I surprised him on our anniversary. I brought in Ronnie Lee from Venus and the Razor Blades, and also Esra Mohawk, who he's also friends with. So it was just
yeah,
it was just very nice,
That's fabulous.
Yeah, but we miss Kim. Yeah, it was a great loss.
Yeah. Well, he had a fine innings, and I can't get maudlin about any of the people that I love that have passed on, because if they hadn't lived great lives, I doubt if they'd have been my friend.
Mm-hmm.
I like people that have a grip on what they want and where they're going and how to achieve it. And when people, who have all that pass on, you look at what they accomplished and it makes you proud, doesn't it? It makes me so happy.
Absolutely.
I always think to myself, now that's a life well lived. And my dad always used to say that too. He kept a very, healthy attitude about people passing on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So now getting back to you, you actually put out the Moon Goddess album, right? What year was that?
Oh, I don't know. It was a long time ago, because it was, I started writing Some of My Best Friends Are Strangers and Fires Are Burning in the mid-'70s. I was doing an interview the other day with a guy called Mark, who's doing the Thunderclap Newman biography. And Thunderclap Newman is the person who played honky tonk piano on those two songs. And
wow.
Oh yeah, it was, and every year or two I would add a couple of songs to it. You know what I mean? And then finally, I had everything recorded, and I was working with Chico Ray, and we were in Austria, and so we did some final mastering and stuff like that. And then those tapes went missing. And so fortunately for that, I had a cassette, which was a very good cassette, and I was able to take it to my dear friend Larry Treadwell out of Los Angeles, and he in the studio was able to recreate the whole album. So that was fabulous.
Awesome. Well, there's one tune that you have on there that actually I just sent it to my fiance, because my fiance's name is Johnny. And yes. I was listening to that, and it's like, oh, this is everything. This is awesome. I love this song. And this is perfect. I just sent it to him today, as a matter of fact. He loved it.
Oh, great. I'm so pleased, Alexxis. That's wonderful. Well, and I wish the melody was mine, but the melody is not. It's a Marlene Dietrich song. I wrote the English words, the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, and apart from the fact that I sang it, it is a classic. It is from a Marlene Dietrich film. And,
wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's my dear friend Orencio, who is a fabulous designer in Los Angeles, brought it to me one day. He said, Angie, I had a dream, and in that dream, you wrote the English version of this and you sang this song.
Wow.
I said, fine, okay, I'll do it. I did. I sat down, I wrote the lyrics, we recorded it, and I'm so glad you enjoy it. And I hope your fiance finds it to be a nice memorial from
yes
of this day.
I know. It's like, how fitting. It's like Johnny. I'm like, oh wow. And then I listened to it. I'm like, oh, I love this. This is perfect. And then I sent it to him. It's like, oh, that was like so lovely. I loved it.
Cool.
Yeah, so now some of the other tunes that you have on your Moon Goddess album, and one I would like to play, which is Fires Are Burning.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now is this like a metaphor, or is this something that you wrote that was, actually happened, or?
No, it's basically, it was the situation in the 70s in England. We were living on a 3-day week. I mean, do you realize what that is?
Yeah.
To make enough jobs for people to work, they only let you work 3 days a week.
Oh,
Think
wow.
about that. You can't even make enough money to survive on working half a week.
No.
So now that didn't occur, have any effect on us because we were self-employed. We were artists. We were, doing what we were doing. But
Right.
someone made an interesting comment to me yesterday. Helena was saying to me, she said, well, because we were talking about this, and she said, it was rough in England then. She said, but don't you think that what you and David did with glam rock might have been one of the reasons for the success, is that it lifted the horror of daily life a bit? And I have to give her credit because, yes, that is absolutely true and a righteous remark. And I haven't really thought about it like that, probably because I'm very modest about, my contribution, David's contribution. What we did, if anyone feels that it was a contribution, I'm always delighted by their interest. But yeah, it was a hard time then. So I think Fires Are Burning in the Forests of Our Youth says it all.
Right.
Everyone was bent out of shape. There were no opportunities. It was like being in a third world country where they keep blowing everything up so you can't even get a job.
Jeez.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is not a way to live.
No.
It's certainly not a way to be able to develop some kind of culture or society that is sustaining and supportive and helps people and provides healthcare and education and all that good stuff. So that was an issue. I found that was a very telling and clever remark of Helena yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, we're going to actually take a listen to Fires Are Burning by Angie Bowie, and we're going to be right back on Music 101.
Fire
Okay, we're back on Music 101 with Angie Bowie. We were just listening to her song, Fires Are Burning. So Angie, on your Moon Goddess album, what do you have a favorite song that you did?
No, they're all favorites. And the next album, Sterling Moonlinks, is very excited. I'm very excited about that album. And I guess I'll probably have it out, I would think, in the next year and a half, because I'm staying home until I get all my projects finished. I've decided I have to just stay home and finish everything. But
that's great. I'll look forward to hearing that when you bring it
cool.
out.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. The World is Changing is a fabulous song that I'm very fond of, and a big deal because it pretty much wraps up what I feel about the situation on the planet and how things have to change for us to survive. But yeah, I like them all. I really do. I'm very fond of them all.
Now we're going to listen to Our World is Changing, Angie Bowie's favorite song from her Moon Goddess CD. Here we go.
The world is changing. The world is changing.
Welcome to the real world. We are here to learn. Get involved, fuck things. Set my life in your dreams. By Iago's filthy schemes. Instruments for corporate means. The world, yeah, the world is changing.
We're about to discuss it right ahead.
Face of the planet, eased by scalpel, is not beautified, but mutilato. The world is changing.
The bomb.
Industry, a mistake, eat more, get fatter, go on a diet, cut down trees, plant down faster, cow get fatter, we can eat, go on a diet, control heat, air conditioning, do hot, do cold, don't walk, drive a lot, get fat, get thin, buy a car, this car, that car, don't walk, you got the world, yeah, the world is changing.
Right ahead.
Earthquakes, my mistake, people's disaster. A mistake so sad, people heard of earthquakes, planet getting fatter. Earth disaster, planet shutting up. Earth fell, earth burned, all planet shutting up. The world is changing.
The world is changing.
Africa, between famine and genocide. Apartheid is gone. Money, reality is skewed. The burden of Mandela. Veto, don't hurt my hero. The world is changing. Asia, shifts and shuffles. Gambles for food. Korea, China, Japan. The falling yen, classic stoicism. Replace monarchies of evil.
We're about to discuss it. We're here to learn.
The world, baby.
We're here
The
to learn.
world is changing.
We're here to learn.
funny because you have a song called Obsession, and I'm not really much of an original artist. I've always been a copy artist as a vocalist myself, but I also have a song called Obsession. So, but then there's another Obsession too from the 80s.
Yeah, now I did not write that either. Paul
Okay,
Zone
so you didn't
wrote
write that one. Okay.
Yeah, Paul Zone wrote that and asked me to record it, which I was happy to do.
Okay, cool. All right.
Well,
All
it's
right.
nice to know that you're a vocalist also. That's very nice to know that you're a musician. I was not aware of that, Alexxis.
Yes, I actually grew up in the business. My dad was a drummer. He actually was in the Harry James Orchestra. He took over for Frank Sinatra, singing and playing drums. So, and he was in the
How
US,
cool
he
is
was in the
that?
USO and all that with Bob Hope.
Oh, how
What's
cool
that?
is that?
Yeah, so I grew up with it. I started when I was like 3 years old. I won a contest to Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
That was a great song. I love that song.
Yeah, that was my first one, and he had me in all kinds of contests doing Carole King, Carly Simon, Janis Joplin, that I won contests on. But I didn't find out until 4 years ago. One of the bands that was a big band, like 10 pieces, however many, that I auditioned for to go on tour as a backup singer was Chicago. My mom told me this 4 years ago. I said, what took you so long? I had to wait till I turned 60 years old to find out about this, So I always wonder, okay, where would I be now? You know what I mean? Had I been able to take that opportunity, but I couldn't because I had quit school, and it was just me and my mom because my dad was a musician. He was gone all the time.
Right,
So,
exactly.
So my life wouldn't have turned out the way it is now, I guess, obviously. So it wasn't meant to be, I guess. Look at it that way. Anyway, getting back to you. With the pandemic, since this whole nightmare began like a year and a half ago or whatever, however long it is, what have you been working on? Like your poetry. I want to ask you about your poetry. You had also.
What is it okay if I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Could I read a poem for you?
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love it. Actually, I was going to ask you if you wouldn't mind if I could put some of your poetry in my magazine.
I wouldn't mind. I'll be, let me read this for you if I may.
Okay, sure.
Because this is a kind of it's not the type of, I usually write things that are a little more political and cutting edge, but this is real, Oh, it's called Far From Me Tonight. Tu es trop loin de moi ce soir. Mon cœur mange ton désespoir. Et pour que je ne me réveille pas en peur, j'espère que tu te moques pas de moi. Oh, you are too far from me tonight. Oh, my heart eats up your despair. Lest I wake crying in fright, I pray that you don't care. You are too like a soul I knew, someone now best forgot, whose falsehood sounded oh so true in the time that time forgot. Tu es trop loin de moi ce soir, mon cœur mange ton désespoir. Et pour que je ne me réveille pas en peur, j'espère que tu te moques pas de moi. My heart eats up your despair. Lest I wake crying in fright, I pray that you don't care. And if it's fear, I ask myself, why did we start again? Did you think you'd make me cry? Did you think I'd scream and sigh? Oh no, you are too far from me tonight. Oh, my heart eats up your despair. Lest I wake crying in fright, I pray that you don't care. Now it's time to test my resolution and see if I am lacking Now it's time to tap the mask and see if I am cracking. Tu es trop loin de moi ce soir. Mon cœur mange ton désespoir. Et pour que je me réveille pas en peur, j'espère que tu te moques pas de moi. Oh, you are too far from me tonight. Oh, my heart eats up your despair. Lest I wake crying in fright, I pray that you don't care. Voila.
That's awesome. I love it. So you're like do it in English and in French.
Well, in that particular one, yes.
Oh, I love that. I love the way you do that. And it just, I just love that when you did when you did the French part.
Well, I wrote it actually in the south of France. I was there promoting The Man Who Fell to Earth for David.
Mhm.
And as a result, because I was in school in Switzerland for 7 years and I speak French fluently, I was thinking in French, you know what I mean? The whole song, because it goes, oh, well, never mind. You'll hear it on one of the albums. It was very fun to write because I didn't have to do anything. The words, everything, just whoop, out it came. Sometimes that happens, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So I hope that was okay, but I thought about
Oh,
it.
no, that's great. I was going to actually ask you if you would recite some of your poetry.
Oh, well, I'm happy to, and thank you for the opportunity. I always enjoy doing poetry readings.
Yeah. And that was really neat because I like the English and French, thing. Actually, we have one of our writers from the magazine. She does hers in English and Spanish. So I always appreciate that. You know what I mean? The two different, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do too. I think it's inclusive, and we love to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now, like I was saying, during this time, during the pandemic, I know you have a lot of projects you've been working on. You said about your music that'll be coming out, this new music, and you have your poetry. So I guess you've been doing a lot with your poetry too.
Well, I've actually got 4 new books coming out.
Oh, wow.
So it's a question of dividing the time amongst the 4 books. There is
Can you say what these new books will be about?
well, two of them are art books of Rick Hunt's art. One of them is an adventure story called Lily Bounty, The Adventures of Lily Bounty. And Catastrophe 2 is coming out. I was looking here at my notes. I put the file next to me so I'd be able to answer your questions a little more. Well, and the most important thing is Loretta Rocks, which I wrote during the COVID. My dear friend, Loretta Watson, who is the first restaurateur who had a soul food restaurant in England in the early 1970s, became my best friend while she was in London and having an affair with David. And we were just best friends one way or the other. It wasn't going to change anything. So about 1.5 years ago, she got back in touch with me and she said to me, would I please write her life story? And I said, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I said, yeah, all right. Okay. Because I love her, all right. I said, I can't write a book with you right now. I said, but I can write a big proposal, like a magazine article that gives them all the high points so that we can get a deal. I said, and maybe we could work something like that. So it's called Loretta Rocks, Witness to the World. Harlem, London, Paris, Rome, Bombay, Rio de Janeiro, and Hollywood. The amazing life of Loretta Watson as told to Mary Angela Belly Barnett. And it is riveting. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back as a writer. When you hear Loretta talking and you hear the story, You would be a moron if you couldn't make it into this incredible piece of writing.
Oh, wow.
She is so brilliant, so fabulous, so wonderful. She's had such incredible things going on in her life that I was honored that she had called me up with what I thought was a bizarre proposition. But we've been best friends for so long and we're so honest with each other. And I said to her, I said, Loretta, I said, I can give you as long as it takes to do this. I said, but, you know, unless we get funds, I can't write a book with you. I can't afford another year or two of not being able to make money. And she said, I understand totally, I got it. So what we're doing now, because we finished the proposal, because we have everything in order, we're getting very busy actually going about the business part of placing it with a publisher and then also placing the film and television rights with the right production company, because it screams to be made into a television series, and we will make sure that that happens.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I've been doing. And thank you for asking.
Sure. Yeah. You know, I'm most curious, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, with the pandemic, they say, you know, well, this is how the whole thing came about with the Zoom. And now we love it, you know,
Yes.
that we're able to do that, you know, and keep in contact with people, audio, video, you know, like somewhat that was like all we had, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, with
Exactly.
everything being locked up and stuff. So it brought some things in and people started like really tapping into, I think, the creative and the artistic and things like that, because it's like, you know what I mean? Well, what are we going to do with our time? You know?
That's right. Well, and the other thing about it is that, you know, you can sort of wallow in despair, or you can dust yourself off and think, well, we've got technology, let's get busy. We're just going to have to make this work. And if you notice, just like you said, everybody got busy and they did make it work.
Yeah.
So I like that. I just put that down to the sort of initiative and the appeal of human beings, curiosity, and all the other things we have going for us. Because it also gave us a chance to bond with our animals and look at the state of the world and see how much it improved just by us getting our big fingers and noses out of everything for a while and watching those rivers running clear, the water in Venice clear for probably hasn't been that clear and beautiful for decades. And all over the country and all over the world, you know, the planet going, yeah, could you please give us a break? You know, just stay home for a while. You know, just relax, chill, because we're digging it. And I love that. I've got a whole family of squirrels in my backyard now. Whole family. That live underground. And I look out the window and they come out and they look at me and I wave. And the mother's got 3 little babies. And it's just, I think because it was quiet here for so long, that she didn't feel the need to be up a tree, or else she's a ground squirrel and that's where they make their nests. But she made a condo right on the pool, right next to our pool. So when she wakes up in the morning and looks out with her 3 adorable little squirrel babies, there they are. Condo on the pool in Tucson. It makes me giggle, you know.
Yeah, we have a big tree in my backyard that's been a couple 100 years old, and squirrels live in there too. So squirrels and rabbits, but then we get a lot of different birds, you know, as well.
We get great birds, lots of rabbits. But
chipmunks, we have chipmunks.
No, chipmunks I don't think they're hardy enough for the desert. The squirrels are. They're okay. They can handle it. But yeah, I haven't seen very many chipmunks since I left Georgia.
So you're in Arizona, right?
Yeah, in Tucson.
In Tucson, okay. So how's the temperatures? I know a lot out west and Midwest, it's been like really super hot this year.
Yeah, well, we've had monsoon season, which we haven't had for about 15 years. So, well, actually not that long, but 10 or 12 years, we haven't had the amount of rainfall that we really needed to have. And so this year we had a monsoon season. So it was very, very hot for a while before the monsoon started. It got up to 115, 114, and it really was very warm. And then, to everybody's surprise, the rains came. And it was just heaven. You know, it really was. It dropped the temperature, and we were all so thrilled, and everything started growing. I have a backyard that looks like a jungle because my partner's working in Colorado, and so he usually deals with all that outside stuff. So now I have to get the people who come to do the landscaping to come and clear the backyard. It's like, it's just the rain has. It has miraculous effect on the desert. Once that rain starts, there's wildflowers everywhere and everything blooms and blossoms. It's gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yeah. So they say, I guess, even though the temperatures are that high out there, it's a dry heat, right? They say it's not as hot.
But they're not high all the time. You know, they come in for 4 or 5 days, you know, or sometimes we'll have, I think we had 6 weeks where it was over 100. But then it drops off, you know what I mean? Then the rains come and then it all goes kaflooey. It's not normal. It's not too hot. It's very odd. And I don't know, when I see a climate change happening like that in the desert, I know it's because something's got to give. There were wildfires not only in California but also here in Arizona, and I think all of that excitement and general threat to the indigenous fauna and flora. You know what I mean? I think the rain helped stop that. Because it hasn't been quite as desperate with the fires. There's still some raging further north of Phoenix, but we had fires here before the monsoon started, and I noticed those fires have all stopped now. They're not breaking out. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain out here out east in Pennsylvania, and we've had things that, tornadoes out here and flooding. And it's been terrible.
But you guys are okay, right?
Yeah, we're okay. I mean,
not too much flooding or anything like that.
There was flooding here around where I live, but not as bad as some other areas that really got flooded out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And parts of Pennsylvania, or whatever, not too far, got the tornadoes too and wiped out stuff. My uncle, where he lives down in Philly area, they got hit hard, Bucks County and Philadelphia and stuff. And amazingly, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird because these are like things that you would not normally expect in this neck of the woods. You know what I mean? You would expect stuff like that. Like, my sister lives in Oklahoma. They didn't even get tornado. No, we're getting these tornadoes and all this stuff out here,
Right.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, sure is.
Ugh. But anyway, so speaking of Arizona, I know that one of the other people that you interviewed was Alice Cooper, right?
Yes.
He lives in Arizona. He is Cooperstown. Have you ever seen that?
He's up in Phoenix. Yes. We had lunch. Mark Bigo and my friend Mark Bigo and I went up and had lunch with him and his wife. And it was fun. He's always fun. He's such a good guy, and he tells great stories. So, that was a great joy. But my friend Chick Cashman is also in the book, and Chick Cashman lives here in Tucson, and we do a lot of recording together. Chick is always my executive producer on all the audio books and stuff like that.
It's great.
So, there's a lot of folks who are featured in stuff that I write from Arizona here.
So now all the new books that you're doing, now I know Backstage Passes is on Audible. You have stuff on Audible. So these new ones, are they going to be out, as regular books and also on audio?
Well, not the art books, because
Well, the art books can't, yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
but the others are. I'm doing the audiobook of Pop Sex. I'm doing the audiobook of Fancy Footwork, which is all the poetry and all the lyrics.
Oh, that'll be neat. That's neat.
Lipstick Legends, I've already done the audiobook for that. And I'll be doing Lily Bounty as an audiobook as well. So
That's great. Yeah, then I think, for me, sometimes it's hard to sit down. Like I have, the books to read. Sometimes it's hard to sit down. That's the nice thing about audio is you can pop your headphones on and walk around and do whatever you got to do and listen at the same time,
Exactly. Yeah, I like audiobooks. I think they're cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great for that. I like having a physical copy, you know what I mean? Especially, if you have pictures and stuff like that in it, that obviously you're not getting that in an audio book. So it's nice to have both,
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So now some of the other things that you do, okay? As a fashion designer, are you doing anything with that or have you done anything recently?
Well, I've never been a fashion designer. I've told designers exactly what I would like. Freddie Moretti and Natasha Korniloff and I worked very closely in tandem about things that I wanted, how I wanted them to look. And everyone was very gracious to me and they were prepared to do that. And it worked out. So then I didn't feel weird. But I've always been a stylist. I've styled every session I've ever done. So from that point of view, yes, I do that all the time. Every time I do a photo shoot or a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But the designing is more, it depends when I get around a designer who I have a good, rapport with. And it doesn't upset them or make them feel weird if I make a suggestion. So that is more one of those things when you meet someone who's open to it, it's possible to work that way with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So now what about as far as your interest in the historical as a historical scholar?
Yes, I am. I've just started my research now for my new pop politic book. And it's such joy. God, I love research. Pop Sex was I worked on it for 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's such an easy track to get into. Because it went from 400 to 500 to 800 to 900 pages. Then I had to go back all the way back and, jack it down to 450, 500 pages. But if I hadn't done all that work, I wouldn't have felt confident about publishing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't take a publisher's opinion with any, it's just another opinion. Like assholes, everyone has one. You know what I mean? So
right.
When I write because now I have self-publishing. I don't have to worry about whether or not some editor at some publishing house is going to think that it's up to what they think is important. Now, that does not mean I don't appreciate and love getting better, a critique, a feeling about it. And the other thing I miss a great deal, which I try not to bring into the realm of the folks whose books I publish, that is, I don't have the kind of budget where I can promote my books or my friends' books enough to be the sole publisher. So I have to constantly be aware of, for instance, with audiobooks, it gives me a chance to work with Loom Publishing in England. Anytime I get the opportunity of outreach to either audio specialists or ebook specialists, that makes it better for me because I reach more people and it doesn't require sitting around feeling like disappointed that I don't have an unlimited budget to promote all of our books everywhere.
Right. Sure.
But, so that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, it just kind of opens up things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know, I've always been, I like to walk in and give the 5 opening paragraphs and then say, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? How can we make that happen? Okay, let's do that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I really
sure.
don't sit around and get bent out of shape because I can't do it. I usually find a way that I can do it. So it's just a question of the books that I'm working on now. I have to stay home and get all this work done. I love going out and I love interacting with audiences and doing book readings and poetry readings and signings. I love that. And I love going to New Hampshire and hanging out with Rick Hunt and his beautiful wife, Lady Carol, and Deb Rieger, all the gang, all the Moccasin Tracks people that I know from up there. I adore it. And New York, which is, like a second home for me. But
That's what I was going to ask you about New York. I was going to say, do you ever get out to New York at all?
I used to. But my darling girlfriend, Annette Witheridge, when she decided to retire, she went back to London. And so my lovely pied-à-terre where I could stay with her when I was in New York doesn't exist anymore. So I don't really have any plans. My Larita lives in a beautiful place in New Jersey on the water. So I'll be going to see her and up to see Rick Hunt and his lady wife and Deb Rieger and all of the folks in New Hampshire sometime at the end of the year. I haven't
That's
seen them.
nice.
Yeah, I adore all of them, and I do like to get up there and say hi to everybody.
That's nice. Well, you'll have to let me know if you ever, come out this way.
Absolutely. What part of Pennsylvania are you in?
I'm in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which there probably wouldn't be any reason to come to here. I mean, I haven't been to New York in a few years myself. So Angie, now, so with Future, we have the books and you have your music. So you're going to stick around and you said you wanted to work on that. Is there anything else that you have plans to do in the near future?
Well, it's probably time to do. I've been getting some offers, tentative offers from people about doing a live evening with Angie Bowie.
Oh, okay.
I'm taking a lunch next week with my dear friend, the director, John Gunn, who is just terrific. I did a show with him, about 10 years ago now. Right here at the little theater in Tucson, and it was a great show. It was really terrific. So yes, I've got more stuff that I'm busy, getting ready. I just want to finish up all this and then try to get a lot more. Hopefully, COVID will recede, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity of traveling more, and it won't be so unpleasant having to, feel like you're dying from not being able to get any air in your lungs.
Right.
Those masks kill me. I have such terrible allergies anyway.
Me too.
My hay fever, it's just, oh, God almighty. Yeah, so, I keep thinking if I just stay home and complete these tasks, maybe everything will turn out to be a little more benign, a little more welcoming in a year or two, if that makes any sense.
Right, exactly. Well, it's all we can do is hope, right? And we just got to keep plugging
right.
away, doing what we do and doing what we love.
That's right. And I can't tell you how much I appreciated it and how much fun I had doing this interview with you, Alexxis. You're a wonderful host.
Thank you, Angie. You too. It's been awesome. It's been so great. Like you said, we finally made it happen.
Yes, we did. I was very proud of us. I thought that was, we persevered. That's what we did.
Yes, we did. Well, Angie, it's just been wonderful. We just love, all the things you're doing, and I, keep following, and, let me know too, if you have anything going on, or if you're going to get out on the East.
Thanks a lot, Alexxis. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you too. Much love, Angie. Talk to you soon.
Okay, baby. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I've known happiness and I've known sadness. With the Mona Lisa, she spelled badness. Some of my best friends are strangers. And boy, I know sorrow. They're a paper mache actor, won't see him till tomorrow. Some of my best friends are strangers. I've had ups, I've had downs. I'm acquainted with some dealers in 100 towns. Some of my best friends are strangers. I am acquainted with some dealers in 100 towns. Some of my best friends are strangers. Some of my best friends are strangers. Some of my best friends are strangers.